So I'm joined today by Mr. Lee Judges, who you will probably know from the Same Old Arsenal podcast and AFTV. Lee, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, Morris. Not too bad.
Not too bad considering how bad things are.
Very much so, considering what's happening with my club at the moment. Yeah, very. I'm all right considering that, but it's been a tough time. I've got to say that. Got to say it's been tough.
Have you been to a game since it's been reopened?
No, I haven't. I chose not to, and I'm glad I haven't. A few people that have gone have said it's not been good. Like they stop the atmosphere, stop the singing and all that. And to be honest, I always felt that part of going to the Arsenal and going with your mates, or any football game really, is to go with your mates and have a bit of fun and enjoy it as well. It's the social side as much as the game. So I didn't go into it. I opted not to go in it. So, and I think in hindsight, it looks like the right thing. And of course now it's been put into tier 3, so you can't go anyway. So I think I made the right decision.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same as the pubs at the moment. I don't know what they're like over there, but over here you can't stand up and you can't move around, and you have to have food and different things like that.
Yeah, and to be honest, I've not been out since that's all come in really. So I've not, I go work, come home, or do some filming and come home. So I haven't had a drink for ages, as happening. So it's all it's all too much, isn't it, to do anything at the moment? It's a chore. You know what I mean? So you want to just go down the pub with your mates, and you can't do that at the moment. So until you can, until things get back to normal, Morris, I don't know what's going to happen really. So I'm losing a bit of weight. I'm not drinking no beer.
Are you working at the moment?
Yeah, shop's very, very quiet because obviously, like people are, like with the dry cleaning industry, people are not working. They're working, but working from home, so they'll be not wearing suits and things like that. And of course, then no one's going out, so no one's wearing no. And this time of year for the dry cleaning industry is quite a busy time because you've got the parties and everything like that, and black tie do's and things, all that sort of stuff. But it's very, very quiet. So and then putting us back into tier 3 stops all that again. So no socialising or anything like that now. So just difficult times, really.
Will you have to close the shop completely now again, or can you stay open?
We can stay open. We've been able to stay open all the time because it's like key workers. But it's been very, very quiet. In fact, I've just been really just doing it as a service more than anything. I've been going into the shop. We're doing like part-time hours and just to get through. But it was a good little business and done me well in the past. But at this moment in time, it's it's on its knees at the moment. I have to say,
Tell us about the location of the dry cleaners, because that's an interesting thing about it.
Yeah, it's in Broxbourne, which is Hertfordshire, which is right slap bang middle of Spurs territory, So Cheshunt is where I come from, and years ago, the Spurs training ground was in Cheshunt, it's just down the road now. But so it's very, very much Cheshunt, Waltham Cross, Hoddesdon, Broxbourne, and places like that is very. Going back when I first started living around here, it was very, very mainly Tottenham. It's changed a little bit now, but it's still very much a Tottenham area, So you can imagine when we lost the Spurs last week. They're all out, aren't they? And they're giving me stick, So I feel it when Arsenal play Spurs and we don't win, I get a lot of grief, So it's very, very important that we win those games or don't lose those games. But unfortunately, over the last couple of years, they've been hounding me,
Do they call into the shop?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of
course they do, So I've got Spurs players or ex-Spurs players that were customers. Unfortunately, Ray Clements has just passed away. He was a big customer, coming all the time, and Aussie Art Dealers comes in. I'll tell you a little story about that. One time, Aussie Art Dealers come in with Ricky Villa, and Ricky Villa said, "Oh, is it all right if you clean my football shirt?" And it was his Spurs shirt that he wore in the cup final. The number 5 on it.
Okay.
So I said, yeah, no worries, no worries. So I phoned all my Spurs mates up and said, look, if you get yourself down here, you can have a photo with the Ricky Villa shirt that he scored in a cup final with, like, you know. So I had all my Spurs mates coming down, trying on the shirt and having photos of it and all that, like, you know. So yeah, so I get a few ex-Spurs players in there. Steve Sedgley comes in quite a lot. I used to play with Steve. So yeah, so they give me a bit of a little bit of stick, you know, with the Arsenal, and you know, pop their head through if Spurs are doing well, and just you know, another defeat and all that. So I'll get a little bit of stick from the Spurs fans and ex-players, like, yeah.
But it's friendly banter.
Friendly banter, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So, I've got my brother's was when he lived in this country, a Spurs season ticket holder. So all my nephews are Spurs fans. So you know, my nephew, my oldest nephew's about 22, 23 now. So as soon as Arsenal lose, he just brings a smiling faces or something like that. So yeah, so you have to listen when you have to take it, don't you? You know, and at the minute I don't think they're bantering me so much now because it's so bad. So
they feel sorry for us at the moment.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, I think, like, you know, like, I'll leave them alone at the minute. So because it must be so bad, but that's how it is. So you have to take it, the rough with the smooth, and unfortunately, it's the rough for us at the moment.
And how long have you been going to Arsenal games?
Well, what happened in the 70s when I first started going? Like, I can't remember what year it was, but like,
yeah,
my mum's side are all Spurs and my dad's side were Arsenal. So 1 week my dad would take us to the Arsenal, and then the following week we go to the Spurs with me granddad. You know, it wasn't so much going down the Spurs that I enjoyed. It was just spending time with my granddad, and you know, like, that side of the family was good. But then I remember just going to Highbury one time with my dad, and I think Liam Brady had a fantastic game, and seeing the Highbury Stadium. And one of the things that attracted me to Arsenal, might be silly, was that the floodlights were not the normal floodlights. They were on the roof, not on the pylons and things like that. It was just something special about Highbury. And I just turned around to me the next week. My granddad said, "We're going over to Spurs today," and I said, I'll give it a miss. I didn't want to go. My brother continued going, and that's why he chose Spurs. And that was it. Then I was hooked on the Arsenal then, and you know, supported them, like, obviously in the cup finals of 78, 79, and 80, and then of course you know, like, Spurs had their day a couple of years later, like, you know. So through my school life, the first 3 years were great because Arsenal were getting the cup finals, and the last 2 years were bad because Spurs were getting the cup finals. So yeah, and that was it. And that's how I've become an Arsenal fan. And you know, players like Liam Brady, Frank Stapleton were my favourites at the time. And of course, had the heartbreak in 1980 of them both leaving, and it's sort of happened ever since with Arsenal fans. So I've got used to it from an early age of losing our sort of star players and best players.
We used to have a strong Irish connection in Ireland with Arsenal, but we don't seem to be getting as many players through that side anymore. Young Mark McGuinness is the only one, I think, lately. He's on loan at Ipswich there.
Yeah, it's really weird because there was a massive Irish connection, obviously, like Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland, because you had like Pat Rice, obviously with Northern Ireland, and Sammy Nelson, David O'Leary, you know, was fantastic central defender for us, and of course then you know, the magics of Liam Brady and Frank Stapleton up top, like, you know. So you know, and a very strong Irish connection with Arsenal fans to this day. There's still, you know, like, they sing the Irish songs and things like that in the pubs, and yeah, great connection with Ireland because of that. Like, yeah.
You were over here for the Chelsea Arsenal friendly in Dublin, yeah?
Yes, yeah. What fantastic,
with Craig.
Fantastic. A fantastic experience that was. The love that we got when we went over there was unbelievable. And it's unfortunate because of the Europa League this season with the lockdown. You know, Dundalk would have been a fantastic away game. But I had a fantastic time coming in the pubs. That was the first time I met Craig, obviously from the same old Arsenal, because he lives in Cork. He come up to the game as well. So we went together for that game. And it was just a fantastic evening, and Dublin, what a city, you know. I've been there
great party city.
Oh, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic, you know. And everybody makes you welcome there. It's like going back into the 80s, Morris, you know what I mean, with the pubs and things like that, you know what I mean? It's fantastic. It really, really enjoyable. And if anybody's not been to Dublin, you know, you've got to hit it on your wish list, because it is a unique place. So I have to say that.
Were you surprised by the amount of Arsenal fans to Chelsea fans? Like it must have been 60-40, at least 70-30 probably.
Well, say yes, 70-30. It was, you know, I've never been surprised at that, because, you know, you knew that Arsenal, I think probably Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United have got the big Irish followings, you know, from over there. What I couldn't believe was the friendship and love wherever we went, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't go into any sort I was walking down the street, going in the pub, people wanting photos and chatting to. Got absolutely mobbed after the game, you know, when the AFTV stuff. You know, it's they could, you know, with the AFTV stuff, there is that little bit of friction between the own fans over here, and so. But when we went over there, it was just nothing but love, and it was fantastic. You know what I mean? I have to say that, and you know, like families coming up to me wanting to talk and have photos and all that. It was a fantastic experience. The whole couple of days that we was out there was fantastic.
I met Robbie and Troops at Arsenal Supporters Club earlier in the day. Two nice guys, have to say.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Like, you know, Robbie, you know, gets a lot of stick, but I will have to say that he's a really nice guy. And Troops, you know, he's just a lovable character, like, you know, and missing him at the moment, like, you know, because he brought an energy to the thing, you know, and but he's doing well in America, and this is the thing, you know, AFTV's got so big it can get you opportunities, you know, that we've never thought you could have and dream of, really, you know. For myself personally, you know, I've met Arsenal players now, been on stage with, you know, doing shows with them and things like that, you know. It's an absolute dream, really, you know what I mean? It's something that I never thought would happen, but it has, and it's just, you know, been fantastic, really.
When I met Troops, I was like, yeah, that guy, there's no acting with that guy on camera. That's just him.
It's just the way he is. Yeah, he's just like that. He's a bundle of energy, you know what I mean? You know, if you feel like you're tired or whatever, like he you know, he bounces into the place. He's got a very, very good sense of humor. Just a nice guy, I've got to say that. Like, it comes across like that when you actually get to meet him. He's I don't like to say fame side of it, but like, you know, that sort of side of he's never changed him. He's never got above his station on it or anything like that. And he's just a humbly nice guy, like, you know. So can't say no more than that, really.
Yeah, I do notice when I do be on Twitter and I see our fans, like, we seem to be always fighting each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, maybe it's because I only follow Arsenal content and people who post about Arsenal, that kind of thing. Do you think any other clubs are like that? Or do you think all other clubs are like that? Or are we just particularly bad at that? Like, it comes from top to bottom, from well-known people doing it to nobody's doing it. But just there always seems to be a friction. Like, when was the last time, do you think, that we were united as a fan base?
Well, I would have to say probably 2000. Do you know what? Probably when we was at Highbury. I think that things changed when we went to the Emirates, and maybe not even in the first year. I don't think that probably, you know, it probably would have changed in that. It's definitely after that sort of time. And it is a fractured fan base now. There is so many. It's not united like it used to be. You know, I remember going to the Arsenal away games, and it was like fantastic, you know what I mean? And then it got very toxic in the away end during the you know, like the Wenger in and out sort of situation. You know, it become not enjoyable sometimes, because you just didn't know what someone would say something, or and you know, you'd end up like there'd be arguing going on, and you know, at the end of the day, it was just an opinion of somebody and whatever. Like, you know, I remember I was walking down the ground one time in the stadium one time, and someone started coming up and having a go, and then like my mates got involved, and you know, and in the end, it was all right. We all like shook hands and we moved on. But the friction was there, and you just thought, oh, this is getting a little bit out of hand, and obviously once the Arsene Wenger thing happened and he did depart, it did calm it down a little bit. But as you say on Twitter and all that, you only have to say one comment, and people don't respect your opinion if you like. They just want to go in and hammer you and whatever. And I find that very, very strange that even now with what I do, you know what I mean? I make a comment and then you get like people calling you this and that, and I think, oh, you know what I mean? Why would you want to? I've never done that with anybody, and I don't intend to do that. You know what I mean? But that's the way it is, and I think you've got to have a thick skin if you want to be involved in all this sort of stuff now, because for every 100 people that say they love you or like what you're doing, there's always one or two that are going to slag you off or whatever, and somehow you've got to have that personality to brush the one or two off and ignore. But your human nature tends to focus on the negatives, if you know what I mean. So that's why it's difficult, so if someone slags you off or whatever, you seem to look at that instead of the people that are giving you some nice kind comments. But luckily I feel that I've been able to do that through experience, I suppose, and at the end of the day, just move it on from there. It doesn't really bother me, but I can see it bothering other people, and it's a tough. Particularly Twitter is a minefield. Get your tin hat on at times. You know what I mean? So which is a shame, really, because I like to interact with all Arsenal fans, and Maurice, it wouldn't be great if everybody agreed with what I said and what I think everybody's got an opinion about football. Is about opinions. There's no two ways about it. You might rate a player and I might not, or vice versa. It doesn't mean to say you're wrong or I'm wrong, And I think you should have like that debate and all that. But unfortunately now it's not like that, and it's a shame.
Yeah, I think everyone's kind of entitled to their opinion once they're respectful about it to people, I suppose.
100%. 100%, like, you know what I mean? 100%. And my opinion's no better than anybody else's. It's just my opinion, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it is, and because my opinion's different to somebody else's doesn't mean to say that I think that they're right or wrong, and that's a shame that you can't. But, like when you was going back in the day, when you was in the pub or whatever, you'd have these conversations with your mates, and you go, "No, I think he's rubbish," and you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's good, and that's how you'd have a laugh about it and all that. Like, but there's certain players that were liked by me that weren't liked by other people. But that's how it is. It's a shame. It is a shame.
Yeah. Do you think if Unai Emery won the Europa League that he'd still be Arsenal manager?
Yeah. That's a great question. I do think that. Yeah, I think he'd made mistakes before that, which put the pressure on. Like when he played the weekend team against Crystal Palace, he sort of chucked all his eggs in one basket there. It wasn't just that they didn't win it; it was the way they lost it as well. We capitulated, got stuffed in a final, and I think that was the writing on the wall for him there. The one worry, when I look back at it now, they didn't perform on the day. They sort of down tools in a cup final, and he couldn't get them pumped up for that game. It was probably the writing on the wall. They probably should have maybe done it there and then. Would have been harsh, but you could see within 2 or 3 games of the next season that he'd lost it, and it was unfortunate. But I think if he would, what he should have done, and I think that he'd probably regret that, was he should have nailed fourth spot first and foremost, got into the top 4. That would have took the pressure off that cup final, and then I think that he would have survived. But it was just that he made a couple of mistakes at the end there, and they were big ones, and ultimately it cost him.
It reminded me the last time I was at a cup final. Well, the only time I was at a cup final, I went over for the League Cup final. I think it was 3-4 years ago when they played Man City.
Oh, freezing cold, wasn't it?
It was freezing cold, and they just didn't show up at all.
Nah. And probably that was the writing on the wall for Arsene Wenger there, because even though he'd gone on and won cups after, you know what I mean, the FA Cup after that or whatever. But to capitulate in a cup final like that, and you know that was there was a lot of trouble after that game. Again,
Yeah.
Arsene Wenger in and out. I don't know if you got to see any of it, but there was.
I was actually in the Man City end that day with my.
So you was probably safer than what he was in the Arsenal end. But
yeah,
and like you know, people were leaving after 60 minutes. You know, like that. You know, the cup final that was you know, but the game was over. Like you know, that's the only cup final that I've left early. It was freezing cold. We was 3-0 down, and I left about 10 minutes from the end. But and we wasn't the only ones. It was a disappointing day. And again, the writing on the wall for you know another final, and a lot of those players, Maurice, that were in that final and that one in Baku are still in this club now. And you know, tossing away cup finals tells you a lot.
Do you think when we get onto the current manager now, do you think the writing is on the wall for him?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. I will say this now. I've wanted it to work with Mikel Arteta. I've desperately wanted it to work. You know, I think that he's done some good stuff. The FA Cup final was fantastic. Something happened in the summer that's made it all go wrong, go all Pete's on.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, whether it be the not getting rid of players. I think maybe the Martinez decision, all sorts of things that could have happened. I haven't got a clue, but something went wrong in that period from last season when everybody was playing and on point to what they are now. Now, you look back at that team, you can go through it. Bellerin was doing well. Holding was doing okay. Louise was fantastic at the back in those few games. Going to the midfield, Ceballos and Xhaka were playing brilliant. Aubameyang on fire. Lacazette was working his socks off, and Pepe was doing brilliant. Not one of them players now is playing well. Not one. Not one of them.
It was a strange decision to get rid of the goalkeeper, Lee.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
People don't agree with me and all that, but what I always say is, you know, you get an opportunity in life, you've got to take it by both hands, and this is what happens in football. It's about taking opportunities and waiting for your opportunity, and he's waiting for his opportunity. He got his opportunity, played out of his skin, never made a mistake, and should have, you know, the way football is structured and the way it is there, you know, he should have been able to keep his place, but football's not like that so much now. It seems if you've got a bigger salary or a bigger price tag, you seem to get more chance of playing and whatever. And I don't think that's the case. And I felt that was one decision. Not anything that Leno did was wrong. You know, Leno was doing fantastic before he got injured. But Martinez come in and just blew everything away. We was talking about it earlier on. You know, when was the last time you see us pick the ball up from the goalkeeper, pass out and go all the way through the lines and score like we did in cup finals and semi-finals last season? We don't do it no more. So, I think that was a big decision, and for me, the wrong decision. I think that you know, should have, you know, Leno should have battled for his place, and unfortunately, that didn't happen. I do believe that they sold Martinez because it was easier to sell him because not on so much wages, and the transfer fee was in this current climate was more affordable than to sell Leno. And I think it come down to a business decision instead of a football decision. Yeah. And unfortunately, there's been a few of them, haven't there?
Yeah,
that have been made on business decisions rather than football decisions, and not right.
I think if you get into the Mesut Ozil situation, now fair enough, he's not going to be playing every game. He's not going to be playing against the big teams, but he could be a person that could be used in even the Europa League and things like that. Obviously, I think that because now I don't believe it was Arteta's decision to not put him in the squad, but because he has done that, I think he's lost the dressing room, because you have to remember these guys are his friends, you know, as well as colleagues.
100% agree. I think that you know, when you see your mate being treated badly, you know, for whatever reason, listen, Mesut Ozil weren't pulling up trees before he all this happened, but he was playing, and you know, there is an argument that in this, there's games when he can come on and give it a go, and certainly can do. He's not the he doesn't deserve, his performances doesn't deserve him not to be in the 25. He surely could be on the bench, and if not on the bench, as you say, playing in Europa League games and whatever, like to be just completely out of it. I'm not buying it. It was just for footballing reasons. So, and I think again, that's another thing that's not happened. And we were saying this earlier on. People will go on about Mesut Ozil, but Socrates is a player that maybe doesn't deserve to be an Arsenal player, not good enough to be an Arsenal player. But you can't turn around and say that his attitude wasn't right and everything like that, because this is a player that's attitude was spot on as far as I was concerned, would put his body on the line, and he's been left out. Now, yes, you could argue that he's not one of the best players, probably not good enough for Arsenal, but I can name 4, 5, 6, 7 Arsenal players that are currently playing week in, week out that are in the same boat. But they're not in the same boat if as Socrates, are they? So, there's lots of things that have gone on, Maurice. I think that lots of things have happened. And, I think that's influenced what's happening at the moment. 100%, because you can't be if you'd have walked off after that cup final, right, me and you would have had a conversation and someone would have turned around and said, you know what, Arsenal will be 15th, struggling to win a game in a month's, 2 months' time, you'd have laughed at him.
Yeah.
You'd have laughed at him. You know what I mean? So something seriously has gone wrong in between that cup final and the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and I think the two things we touched on there with Ozil and the goalkeeper, I think, is a factor in it as well. Then you hear about training grounds, bust-ups with players, and
all of a sudden you're in about. Why are you in about that?
That's another thing. I heard someone is leaking details of what's happening and things like that.
Yeah, well, that tells you a lot, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Like I know by playing football when I played and things like that there were fights going on, not major fights. Listen, when they say major fights, there's never like falling out. There's a couple of like exchanges, a heated thing. Like before anything gets out of hand, there's always people jumping in and stopping it. Go and cool off, and then it's forgotten about. I've seen it happen loads of times at my level, so it's guaranteed it's happened at Arsenal on more than one occasion, like it has done up and down the country in every football club. All of a sudden, though, Arsenal a bit, it's being leaked out that they're having fights and all that. Not good sign as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, obviously the other night, Burnley, dreadful. Just played poor. Arteta came out afterwards and said they dominated the game. They looked sharp and just didn't see it.
No. Listen, I was disappointed when I see the team. I have to say that, you know what I mean? The same team, barring Partey, who was injured, was the same team against Spurs. And basically, it's been the same team that's lost over the last few games. And not one change, only one enforced. Disheartened me from the word go, and you can't defend that, that he continues to keep playing the players that are not in form or not good enough. And then what I always say as well, that someone like Willett comes in, young player, has one bad game, dropped.
Yeah.
But other players continue to play. Guendouzi been thrown out because of bad behaviour. You're telling me that that Willian, I can tell you this now, under no circumstances was he, given permission to go to Dubai. Off he trotted on his own. What was his punishment? Nothing. Just straight back in the team. And so these are all little things, Maurice, that will continue to keep happening. And when you look at that game on Sunday, did they go that extra yard to get that result? Xhaka doing what he'd done. Yeah,
he's surely finished now, is he, Xhaka?
Well, I think so, but not under Arteta. Arteta will probably forgive him. Look at Arteta's post-match comments about him to what it was like with Pepe. Yeah. Both were wrong. I felt there was probably a little bit more provocation in Xhaka's one, if I'll be honest. I didn't think it, like 5 years ago, Maurice, that would have been a booking and that would have been the end of it. But the game's changed, and this is a player that Mikel Arteta has backed and backed and backed. Shouldn't have been playing Sunday, not because he's a bad player. He's just lost form. You know, the player, the Xhaka in the cup finals and semi-finals, he's not the Xhaka now.
Yeah.
You know, but the managers kept faith in him. His reward was to get him sent off and probably cost him, you know, 3 points and realistically cost him a lot of fans' support. You know, a lot of fans have lost their patience with Mikel Arteta now because of that result, the performance, the team selection, and of course what happened with Xhaka. You know, so I think I'm going to find it very, very hard. I don't see, you know, Southampton on Wednesday is going to be a really, really difficult game. I can't see Arsenal winning that one. I couldn't see them beating Burnley, so I can't see them beating Southampton. And where do you go if you have five consecutive defeats at home? You know, this is getting out of control.
Yeah, the games are coming thick and fast. Everton away, Chelsea coming up on Boxing Day. Seems like his job could be well on the line when it comes to that game. Well, if he's not gone before then.
Yeah, because you've got Everton before that in the league, which, you know, you see what they've done to Chelsea. You know, if they put in that sort of performance, Arsenal ain't going to be able to cope with that. And then Manchester City in the League Cup, you know, it could be his old manager and his old club putting one of the final nails in his coffin, because if they get beaten convincingly there, you know, especially after them down the road took Dunham, you know, the pressure would be all on for that Chelsea game. And you know, if they was to go and lose, you know, if they was to lose to Southampton, then lose to Man City, and then lose to Chelsea, 7 consecutive home defeats. No one can survive that. You know,
no manager. So to wrap things up, then, where do you think we'll finish this year? What's the realistic goals? Looking at it now, obviously, it looks very bad.
Well, I think, you know, do you know what? When things are going wrong and things ain't going well, right, things go against you, and like cup draws get tougher as well. You know what I mean? Newcastle at home, that's no gimme. You know, when you look at it, of all the teams that are in there, you know, 64 teams, and we pull out a Premier League club. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and 9 times out of 10 in the third round, you pull out a nice little
Championship
one.
Or League One,
League One or something like that. Even non-league, you know, when things were going well for us, we played Sutton, and then I can't remember the other team we played now, but we played 2 non-league teams. And got ourselves into a semi-final without playing a Premier League side, you know. So sometimes you need that little bit of luck. We ain't getting that. You know, Benfica in the Europa League could have been
tough draw.
Yeah, it could have been a lot easier. You know, look at Spurs. They pick out a team that's in from Austria that's about 6. When things are going for you, that's what happens. You know what I mean? You make your own luck, and so we're going to have to do it the hard way. Listen, we wouldn't beat Barnet the way we're playing at the moment. So you know, like to beat Benfica and Newcastle is going to be tough. I really see us. You know, we finished 8th last season. I think that at this moment in time, there's at least 10 teams better than us at the moment. So, you know, anything above 10th will be good, which is a tragic thing to say about Arsenal. You know what I mean? Like, it should never be finishing 10th. As I say, I can't see us. When you look at some of those teams in Europa League, I can't see us getting through.
Can't see us winning that.
No. But on a one-off game, FA Cup or the League Cup, we've still got that in our locker, that we can beat anybody on our day. So, but I think that this season, I think we've still got a lot more pain to come. If I'll be honest, I really do.
Normally, we're writing the season off for a couple of more months or till at least Christmas, but we're writing it off pretty early this year. Yeah,
we are. And listen, if the worst thing could happen, and I'm saying like this, and you know, it could be the worst thing, but it is realistic to lose our next 3 league games, because if you can't beat Burnley at home, you're going to struggle against Southampton and Chelsea at home. Let's be truthful about it. Everton away. We then go to Brighton, I think, on the 29th. You know, and that would be a relegation game, a relegation battle. If we've, you know, this is, you know, we're going into charters that we've never been in before. But this is what we've been saying. You know, I mean, we've been dropping the standards. all the time, and now Arsenal could potentially be going into a relegation battle in the new year. That, is, well, some heads have got to roll, and not just Mikel Arteta's, by the way. You know what I mean? I think if Mikel Arteta goes, there's got to be a few more go with him as well, because he's been let down by the summer actions. You're not getting rid of the players. He's not been able to get the players in. Don't tell me when people turn around me. It really annoys me, this from us, when they say, "Oh, we need 3 or 4 transfer windows." Tottenham are in a worse situation. Let's have one. Sorting all their problems out in one transfer window. So don't go around saying, "Oh, we need 2 or 3 transfer windows." If them can do it in one, then I'm bloody sure that Arsenal can as well. So the board and whoever the recruitment have let down this manager as well. And let's not forget that it's not just on Mikel Arteta, all this. There are other issues as well, and there are other people that are letting down, and they need to go as well. If that is the case, what's going to happen with Mikel Arteta?
Well, hopefully, Lee, we can catch up again sometime maybe next year.
Look forward to it. Anytime, my man. Anytime, my friend. Anytime.
And let's hope that we're above 15th when we do catch up.
Let's bloody hope so, you know what I mean?
Thanks very much, Lee.
Lovely. Have a lovely Christmas and that, and,
you too.
I'll see you in the new year.
Have a few beers.
Few beers.